Democrats and the media are now unloading all their nasty attacks on rising Trump White House star and new press secretary, Karoline Leavitt.
Karoline Leavitt is the press secretary at the White House, doing a great job. Such a great job that the ladies of The View feel the green monster coming upon them.
Joy Behar has found herself in hot water once again, and this time, the backlash is fiercer than ever. The longtime co-host of The View has been accused of hypocrisy and blatant disrespect after making a comment about Karoline Leavitt, Donald Trump's newly appointed press secretary. During a recent episode of the show, Behar claimed that Leavitt, at just 27 years old, only got the job because of her appearance.
I think she's probably been put in there because, according to Donald Trump, she's a 10.
This comment didn't just spark outrage. It unleashed a firestorm across social media and mainstream media platforms alike. Critics quickly pointed out the glaring hypocrisy of Behar, a self-proclaimed advocate for women's empowerment who reduced a highly accomplished woman to nothing more than her looks. It was the kind of statement that, coming from someone else, Behar herself would have likely condemned as misogynistic. Yet here she was, casually making the kind of remark that many believe undermines everything she stands for.
No, it's not. So first of all, and I have had my objections to the job that Karine Jean-Pierre did, but she worked in politics for 21 years, 5 presidential campaigns, and worked in 2 administrations.
Leavitt, a political powerhouse with an impressive resume, is no stranger to high-pressure situations. Before stepping into her role as press secretary, she served as communications director for Representative Elise Stefanik and had a stint in the Trump White House as an assistant press secretary. She even ran for Congress in New Hampshire, winning her primary before narrowly losing in the general election. Critics of Behar's comments were quick to highlight these accomplishments, arguing that Leavitt's qualifications speak for themselves and that Behar's remarks were not only disrespectful but entirely unfounded.
Speaking of Donald Trump, I was stunned and amazed by his new White House spokeswoman today. She's actually the youngest ever in that job.
The backlash came swiftly and decisively. Social media platforms exploded with criticism, with users from across the political spectrum condemning Behar's remarks. "These women on The View are just full of hate," one commenter wrote, capturing the sentiment of many who feel the show has become a platform for divisive rhetoric rather than meaningful dialogue. Another user asked, "How many lawsuits do they need to get canceled?" referencing the show's long history of controversial statements and on-air blunders. The outrage wasn't limited to conservatives either. Even some liberal commentators admitted that Behar's comment was out of line and emblematic of a larger problem within the show's approach to discussing women in politics. Karoline Leavitt, for her part, handled the situation with remarkable poise and professionalism. Rather than stooping to Behar's level, she responded with facts, grace, and a level of composure that left her critics scrambling. In a statement following the controversy, Leavitt emphasized her qualifications and expressed disappointment in the way women in positions of power are often treated, particularly by those who claim to advocate for gender equality. Without directly addressing Behar, she made it clear that she wouldn't be deterred by petty personal attacks.
Karoline Leavitt, she's just 27 years old. But boy, was she giving it to the Trump haters in her first White House briefing.
Leavitt's ability to remain unshaken by the controversy speaks to her years of experience navigating high-stakes environments. Those close to her have described her as fiercely resilient, a trait she honed while working as communications director for Representative Elise Stefanik, one of the most prominent conservative voices in Congress. During her tenure, Leavitt often found herself at the center of media storms, skillfully managing messaging and countering attacks from critics. It's no surprise that this latest incident has only bolstered her reputation as a composed and effective communicator. Interestingly, some political analysts believe that this controversy has inadvertently worked in Leavitt's favor. By staying calm and refusing to engage in a war of words, she's positioned herself as a rising star, not just within the Trump administration, but in the broader conservative movement. "Moments like these define a leader," one commentator noted on a political podcast. Leavitt showed she can handle pressure with class, and that's exactly what her supporters want to see. It's the kind of poise that leaves a lasting impression.
Dang, Rowan, I couldn't do that at 27. No nonsense, straight to the point, courage, detail.
What made Leavitt's response so powerful was its focus on the bigger picture. She didn't just defend herself, she used the moment to highlight the double standard that conservative women often face in the media. The View loves to claim they're all about empowering women, but the second a woman doesn't align with their politics, they tear her down, Leavitt reportedly said in private conversations with colleagues. Her words resonated with many, especially those who have long felt that mainstream media platforms like The View are quick to dismiss or demean right-leaning women.
Because she said something yesterday that really pissed me off. And that was, she said, there will be no wokeness here.
Oh, yeah.
Let me explain something to you.
While Behar's comment was the spark that ignited the controversy, it wasn't the only moment from that episode of The View that drew criticism. Whoopi Goldberg, another co-host of the show, launched into a tirade about Leavitt's stance on wokeness, a term the press secretary had criticized during her first White House briefing. Goldberg argued that without the concept of wokeness, women like Leavitt wouldn't have the opportunities they enjoy today.
Without that wokeness, you might not have that job.
Yeah.
Because Women were not invited to that table.
She went on to recount the struggles women have faced in gaining access to educational and professional opportunities, framing Leavitt's criticism of wokeness as ignorant and ungrateful. But Goldberg's impassioned speech didn't land the way she likely intended. Instead of coming across as a thoughtful critique, it felt to many like an attempt to lecture and belittle a young woman who had the audacity to hold a different opinion. Critics accused Goldberg of conflating historical struggles for equality with the modern, often divisive, concept of wokeness. She totally missed the point, one social media user wrote. Leavitt isn't against progress, she's against the performative activism and divisive rhetoric that wokeness has become. The controversy didn't end there. Goldberg's tirade, combined with Behar's comments, sparked a broader conversation about the treatment of conservative women in the media. Many pointed out that The View has a long history of targeting right-leaning women, from Sarah Huckabee Sanders to Kayleigh McEnany to Nikki Haley. Time and time again, the show's hosts have dismissed the accomplishments of conservative women, opting instead to focus on personal attacks or superficial criticisms. This pattern has led many to question whether The View truly supports women's empowerment, or if their advocacy is reserved only for those who align with their political views.
They really don't like this woman. She's a good communicator. And so Joy Behar just offered her analysis on why Leavitt was picked for the role.
As the backlash continued to grow, ABC executives reportedly became increasingly uneasy. According to insider sources, the network was blindsided by the intensity of the public's reaction and is now scrambling to contain the fallout. While The View has always thrived on controversy, there's a fine line between sparking debate and alienating viewers. And with ratings for the show already slipping, this latest incident could prove to be a tipping point.
But even factoring in that she's a nice-looking lady, I love that the Liv's attacks on conservatives right now are that we're hot and cool.
Behind the scenes, tensions are reportedly running high. Some insiders have suggested that Joy Behar's position on the show may be in jeopardy, as network executives question whether her frequent missteps are worth the constant damage control. They've completely crossed the line this time, one source said, adding that ABC is seriously considering a major shakeup in the show's lineup. While Behar has been a fixture on The View for decades, her increasingly controversial remarks may finally be catching up with her. This latest controversy also highlights a larger shift in the media landscape. As more people turn to independent outlets and social media for their news, legacy platforms like The View are facing growing scrutiny. The public is no longer willing to accept one-sided narratives or blatant hypocrisy, and incidents like this only serve to accelerate that shift. For many, the backlash against Behar and Goldberg isn't just about their comments on Leavitt. It's a reflection of a broader frustration with the way mainstream media platforms treat conservative voices.
Isn't it rich that The View is saying she got the job based on looks when DEI is all about based on looks?
The irony of the situation is impossible to ignore. In attempting to diminish Karoline Leavitt, The View's hosts inadvertently elevated her profile and strengthened her position. By standing her ground and refusing to be intimidated, Leavitt has emerged from this controversy stronger than ever. Her poised and factual response has earned her widespread praise, even from those who don't share her political views. Meanwhile, The View is left grappling with yet another self-inflicted scandal. As the dust begins to settle, one thing is clear: this controversy has exposed deep cracks in The View's facade of inclusivity and empowerment. The show's hosts may claim to champion women, but their treatment of Karoline Leavitt suggests otherwise. For many viewers, this incident has confirmed what they've long suspected, that The View is less about uplifting women and more about pushing a narrow, partisan agenda. As the dust settles on this controversy, it's clear that Karoline Leavitt has emerged stronger than ever, while The View grapples with the fallout. But what do you think? Should Joy Behar face consequences for her remarks, or is this just another storm that will blow over? And how do you think this incident will shape the future of The View and its approach to discussing women in politics? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more celebrity gossip and hot takes. Until next time, stay tuned and keep the conversation going.